I just want to start this video by first and foremost saying rest in peace to George Floyd, rest in peace to Ahmaud Arbery, rest in peace to Breonna Taylor, rest in peace to Sean Reed, rest in peace to Steve Taylor, and most recently, I just want to also say rest in peace to Regis Korchinski-Paquet. She was pushed off the balcony by police in Toronto, and news outlets are now covering up her death to be suicide. And I also want to say rest in peace to the thousands upon thousands of Black brothers and sisters that all their deaths, wrongful deaths, go unreported. And it's a lot. It's a lot to process as a young Black man, as a young 22 Nigerian man. It's a lot to take in, and I just want to start this video saying that this isn't for clout, this isn't to hop on a trend, this is just very mentally and emotionally taxing for me. And I wanted to just get my thoughts across everything that's going on. I also want to deliver a bit of a message to the audience I have. Even though it's a small audience, it's still, I want to do my part and spread a message towards all of you watching. I don't feel like making any super drastic edits, cuts, whatever. That's fine. I'm really just gonna release this as it is because I want it to be as raw and authentic, so you can get the message of what I'm trying to say. I don't know. Today, the time of this recording, the whole day I just felt in a bad, depressive mood because of the recent cases of George Floyd, of how he was wrongfully killed. He was murdered. They want to say police brutality, but he was murdered. You can't get any more raw than that. You know, I've watched the videos. You see all the news outlets report on it, and it's just that, what did he do? You wanna kill him over alleged forgery? That's not even like, it's alleged for that. It means they haven't even proven it yet. Yet that man lost his life for what? That doesn't make any sense to me. You have all these other cases. I mean, Ahmaud Arbery, he was going for a jog, and you have white supremacists just go kill him in cold blood and create lies saying that he was robbing from houses when there has been evidence to show that he was not doing that. You have people like Breonna Taylor, they raid her home, break into her home, kill her in her own house. It's a lot. It's a lot to take in. And what's worse is that you've been seeing on social media, I see it on Twitter a lot, on Instagram a lot, where you have a lot of white men, white women, they're using the 911 dial as a weapon. They see something they don't like, in this case, an African-American man or woman doing something that they don't appreciate, and they will call the police with the presence that, oh, I am being threatened by this African-American man, I'm being threatened by this African-American woman. And what does that say? It really turns police into hired hitmen for the white people to do their bidding. Do you know how scary it is for someone like me and people like me, older and younger, to try to walk outside, go live the normal lives? Because you never know who you might come across. You might come across a racist white supremacist who just wants nothing but to see all Black people eradicated from this world. And it just doesn't make any sense anymore. I saw a quote from Will Smith a couple of days ago saying that racism hasn't gotten worse, it's just been getting filmed, which is true. So I can only imagine how it would have been way before I was born. Like, you think about Martin Luther King, you think about Malcolm X during their time, during the civil rights movement. Imagine what they were going through Imagine the things that weren't documented, that weren't filmed, that weren't seen in the open eye in the public. And it's just really heavy on the mind and really heavy on the heart to think of these things. I made a video saying Black people are people too because I felt strongly about it. I feel like I'm making this video because I want to just get this message even put further. What did we do as a race to piss off the entire world? I really want to know, because I'm tired. There's another thing I want to talk about, that we're pushing this people of color, POCs, the whole point of, people of color have to stay united. That's not the case either. You have a lot of races and ethnicities that are also racist towards Black people. It's really unwarranted. You have a lot of races and ethnicities that don't ever even come in contact with Black people that often, and they still show prejudice, still show discrimination towards them, and it just doesn't make any sense. Like, it's just unwarranted hatred. And it's not right to me. I bring it back to white people. Look, and I'm talking for myself and everyone watching this. If you have a white friend, or you're friends with me and you're white, and you don't say anything about this, you're just a part of the problem. You are just as part of the problem. If you think what is going on in this world doesn't concern you, I'm going to spoil it. It does concern you. And in fact, it concerns you the most, because you have the power to make real change. You have the power to do that. You understand? Like, one thing I've always noticed with my own friends and people I see online, like, they want to drop the N-word all day and night. I mentioned that in my last video. I'm talking about it now. And it's just that you may think it's so harmless, but it's not. It hurts and it's unwarranted. And it's just, you may not think you don't mean harm, but you mean a lot of harm. Because when a white person were to say the N-word and just spray it everywhere, that's basically saying that I don't care what the Black race has gone through. I want to say what I want to say. And by you doing that, it just shows, like, if you're a friend of mine, if you're a friend of a Black person, are you really friends with them? Because you listen to our music, you take our culture, you appropriate literally our hairstyles, our clothing, just the way we talk, everything. But when it comes to situations like this, you have people wrongfully convicted of crimes. You have people who are just tortured and brutalized. Literally, with George Floyd, he was pressed down to the concrete, his knee on his neck for 9 minutes straight. He was begging and pleading for his life. And you don't think there's something wrong about that? You don't feel the need to speak up? And I'm sorry, but you are just as part of the problem. Like, I don't know what else to say about it. It's just a whole, I don't know. You get so fed up, you get so sad, you get so angry, so frustrated. It's just a mix of negative emotions that you feel. Like, for my Black people, I understand the pain that we're all going through. And you get to the point where you're thinking, is there any solutions? We keep saying, when will this end? When will this end? I don't think it will end until we take the necessary steps. We have been taking the necessary steps as a race. But it's time for other races to get behind this, because it can't just be us saying this is oppression. We need to stop being oppressed. We need to stop being brutalized. We stop getting murdered wrongfully. Because things I see with the Black Lives Matter movement, where we're trying to fight off the oppression, you have people counteracting with All Lives Matter or Blue Lives Matter. And I'm like, no, you can't do that. Because when you're saying with the All Lives Matter movement, you're literally downplaying what the Black Lives Matter movement is about. If you have a Black person getting wrongfully killed as an All Lives Matter advocate, what you're essentially saying is, oh, he might be dead, but it's okay because the rest of us are alive because all lives matter. That's not You're wrong. You're straight up, you're wrong. I'm not going to say sorry for that. You're wrong. The Black Lives Matter movement, it's not about putting down other lives and saying only the Black Lives Matter. No, it's not. The Black Lives Matter movement is about highlighting the oppression, the discrimination, and the killings, the wrongful killings against Black people. Saying this isn't right. This shouldn't be happening, and we are taking a stand. We are not going to tolerate this any longer. We're not putting down other lives. We're just showing that our lives are just as valuable as every other life on this earth. That's what it's about. And we keep talking about how, oh, the system is broken. The justice system is broken. The whole government system is broken here. The police system is broken. The thing is, this system was never built for us. When Canada and when the United States were forming as countries 300-400 years ago, do you really think when they're creating their amendments, they're creating their constitutions, when they're creating their laws, all of that, etc., do you really think they have Black people in mind? No, they did not. I can assure you they did not have a single black person's life in mind when they're creating those constitutions, creating those laws, creating those amendments, all of that. They didn't have any of those in mind. So the system isn't broken. It's just not made for us. And that's something we have to wrap our heads around. All I can say is that, my fellow Black people, it's tough. I said it before, I'm saying it again. It's painful, it's tough, it's emotionally and mentally taxing. I understand. This whole day before recording this, I was just feeling so anxious, I'm not gonna say I have depression because that's not right of me to say, but I just felt like I was just in a depressive state. I just felt so sad and angry and frustrated. I can't even imagine what the Floyd family is going through. And to talk about, a few hours ago, I just found out in my own city, Toronto, a Black woman was pushed off the balcony by police who raided her condo. And now they're forcing news outlets to cover it up and say it was a suicide. You have multiple eyewitnesses seeing what happened. It just goes to show that racism is not a US only problem. It's everywhere. Don't let it fool you. Canada has just as much problems. They just cover it up better. That's the only difference. Racism is everywhere, man. Every country you go to, you will experience a form of racism. Big or small, you will experience that. I said in my last video, look at China. You can go to the UK, you can go anywhere in the world, experience. So it's just that it's not a US only issue. It's just very prevalent in the US because it's just a lot of deep-rooted systematic racism that's just being highlighted today. But don't be fooled. There is racism everywhere. I'm disgusted that this murder happened so close to home for me. I'm absolutely disgusted, and I pray for the family. I genuinely pray for the family. I pray for the Floyd family. I pray for the families I mentioned before. I pray for the thousands of families who have their loved ones wrongfully killed. We gotta stand up. We really have to stand up. My white people, it's time for you guys to do your part. It's time for you to stand up and speak up against this, because you can't pretend like this doesn't happen. I saw a tweet, I think it was yesterday, I retweeted it saying that everybody wants to be Black until it's time to be Black. And that's so true. My white people, you can't be listening to our music. They can't be copying our styles, copying our flows, copying our speech, copying our hair. But then when it comes time to speak up against racism, police brutality, wrongful killings. You can't stay quiet. You cannot. That's unacceptable. You need to speak up. You need to stand up and say something. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. Stand strong, my friends. Stand strong, my people. We're in this for the long run.